Hello, Glenwood Middle School kids. I'm Mrs. Lavera, Mr. Lavera's wife, Elisa, and this is my grandmother, Sari Schulman, who is 107 years old. She was born in 1917, right?
Right.
And she's amazing, and I love her to death. So I'm so impressed with those of you who wrote questions. I think that's so amazing, and what a great idea this was. And I'm gonna ask you some questions that some of these kids wrote, and you wanna and you'll answer me.
I'll see if I can.
She'll see if she can answer me. Okay, here's a question from Mariah. Was it shocking to you that you have lived to be 107 years old? Is it shocking to you to have lived so long? That you've lived to be 107?
I really am shocked because my parents died young. It's a little hard because you can't do all the things you did when you were younger.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, and what do you credit your living to be 107? What do you credit to your living such a long life?
I didn't get that.
What do you say is the reason that you have lived to be 107 years old?
I give a silly answer. I say it's dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
But dark chocolate is good for the mind and good for the heart.
In moderation.
Yes.
Because it's also got a lot of sugar and things that are not good for you. But
I really don't know. It's not the genes because my parents died very young.
Right.
Most people say you have good genes.
Yeah.
But that's not so. Because as I say, my parents died very young. My father was 55, my mother was 67, and I'm 107.
But they probably didn't eat as well as healthy as you have eaten. You've always tried to, eat healthy food and walk. You've really taken care of yourself. Cooked a lot of food. Oh, now he's going to video. Here's our next question. This is a very good question. From Matthew
Melky.
Oh, Melky. What did you think of Mr. Lavera, my boyfriend at the time, when you first met him?
Oh, that's for you.
That's for you. What did you think of George Lavera?
I thought he was a very nice young man.
Did you?
Yes, I liked him very much.
Okay. Good. I'm glad. And now you've really grown to love him, right?
Oh, yes. He's a fun fellow.
Yes, he is.
And he's a wonderful husband and a wonderful dad. And he became my grandson when he married Elisa.
That's right.
That made me very happy. I don't know if it made him happy to have me for his.
I can promise you that it has made him.
Family, but
I can promise you that he is very happy. He often says you're his favorite. Madison L. Lawrence has a good question. How was your life growing up?
I had a wonderful childhood. A very wonderful childhood. Always happy. I don't remember any bad things about it at all.
I promise you, you were not always happy. Nobody's always happy.
We went roller skating
Yeah.
in the summer and ice skating in the winter
Lovely.
and picnics.
And your parents were very doting on you and your sister, right?
We go to the park. My dad would take us to the park on Sundays mornings, and he'd buy a bag of peanuts and we'd feed the squirrels.
Oh.
While my mother stayed home and cooked Sunday dinner.
And didn't he every day when he got home from work, did he have something for you and your sister?
Right?
What did he do?
We'd wait for him. We'd see him coming down the street. We'd run to him, and he always had a little something. Wasn't much, but to us it meant a lot because he gave it to us.
No.
There used to be chewing gum called chiclets. I don't know if they still have it. There were 2 little pieces of white squares in a little yellow box. So one day it'd be chiclets or a penny stick of chocolate or a little toy.
Oh, tell the story about when you went, when it was cold out.
Pardon me? God bless you.
Excuse
God bless
me.
you again.
Thank you. Tell the story about when you and your sister, it was cold out and you saw a cafe that they were serving hot chocolate, and you and your sister went in and had hot chocolate. Do you remember that?
I don't know.
And your parents stood outside and watched you.
Oh, yes. We were brought up during the years of the Depression.
Meaning there was
So
very
we
little
didn't-
money.
We didn't have much money. One Sunday we took a walk on the avenue. All the stores were closed except the ice cream parlors, and it was cold. So my mother gave us each a dime, and we went in and ordered hot chocolate. And the young man behind the counter was very nice and put a scoop of ice cream in it. But my mother and father stood outside in the cold. They couldn't afford to buy it for themselves. And I felt guilty. It was delicious and everything, but I didn't enjoy it because my mother and father were out standing outside in the cold. They could have come in and warmed up, but they just stayed out there. Those were the days.
They were too proud, right? Were
They
they?
were hard days. We weren't the only people. Everybody had it hard in those days.
Right.
A lot of people were out of work. There were food lines for people, soup kitchens.
Yeah. But you never had to go to a soup kitchen?
No, that I never had to do. A lot of friends. We'd play outside. We played jump rope. We'd go skating. My mother's brother, Uncle Nathan, he bought my sister a pair of roller skates, and as well as for myself. We'd skate every day and come home with scraped knees because we'd fall.
Aww. Talk about your refrigerator, like your ice box. That was so interesting.
Not many people have ice boxes today. I don't think anybody has an ice box today.
No.
But the ice box looked like a cabinet from the outside. And on the top, there's a door. And inside that door, you put a big hunk of ice, which the Iceman brought, and held by 2 big hooks. And there was a pipe that led from that back of the ice box down into a big pan underneath the ice box that collected the melted water from the ice.
Mm-hmm. So this is instead of a refrigerator. Because there was no refrigerator.
Yes, of course it was instead of a refrigerator.
Okay.
I remember we got a refrigerator when I was 8 years old. The first refrigerator. The landlord put them in.
So your parents.
My mother thought it was the most luxurious thing she owned.
Yeah. Well, you no longer needed the ice man, right?
And we had ice cream in the freezer and all the goodies.
Wow. Before that, nothing was frozen then. You couldn't keep frozen food in the ice box,
No.
right? Just
They
refrigerator.
didn't have a freezer.
Just cold. It could keep milk fresh.
Didn't have a freezer.
This is a very different question from your childhood question. This is a much more serious question. Caitlin Hannon asked a very good question. What was it like to experience important people in your life dying? What did you do to move on?
What's it like to
Experience important people in your life. What was it like to have important people die that you loved, and what did you do to move on?
That's a very hard question. The first death I experienced was of a little girl, 4 years old. She was a friend of mine, and we lived in the same apartment building. And it was very sad.
You were only 4 years old too?
She had a bellyache, and my mother gave her an enema, and her appendix burst. She was poisoned.
Oh no.
And I remember we went up to see her in her coffin. We said a prayer. I never forgot it.
Do you remember her name?
Mary.
It wasn't
Mary
your mom.
Crane.
Your mother giving her the enema is not what caused the
She
the
had
appendix.
a bellyache. She still was constipated.
You're right.
So she gave her an enema.
But it was not that. If her appendix broke,
Yeah.
it was not just a bellyache. She didn't know what to explain. That's young to have your appendix burst. But then what about like your parents? Your parents died. Your husband died. Your sister died.
Friends.
Friends. Your grandson died. Your son-in-law. I'm sorry to bring all this up, but like, how did you get through the other like people that you were very close to, like your parents? You were very close to your parents. Just was it just time? Like
My father. I don't know why the kids want to know this. Tell them things like that.
Well, she's curious. She's
and
curious.
My father died at his place of business when he was 55 years old. And I thought I was going to lose my mind because my father was my best friend. He had a massive heart attack. I don't think children should listen to this.
Okay. But you got, the point is though, I guess what we should tell them is, even though you thought you would never recover, life did go on. You raised your children, you had wonderful moments after that.
Of course.
You
had wonderful memories of wonderful little children. They were good children. One day, my daughter Suzanne, she was about 18 months old. She was standing and walking around in the crib. And I said to Jerry, my son, I'll be right back. I'm going into Mrs. Affian for something. Well, evidently, he thought that it was a long time. Because when I came back and I hear him saying to Susie, I don't know how to take care of you, and Mommy went away and left us. So of course I said to him, I would never leave you, and I'll always take care of you and Susie.
Oh, but he
thought it meant my life.
He thought it meant you. He thought you said, "I'm leaving." I'm altogether leaving.
I never know what goes through kids' minds.
Grant Anthony wants to know, what would be your last wish? I think is what he's your last. I think that's what he's asking. What would be if you had one wish for the world, as like, you know, for when you go, what would be your wish?
That everybody should be well and healthy and peace throughout the world.
That would be wonderful. Well, from your mouth to God's ears, let's hope that happens. I don't know who asked this question. Let's see. Oh, Lander. What's the L-A-N-D?
Landon Carrier.
Landon Carrier. What is your favorite memory with your husband? Are you able to talk about this? Or is this going to be a little too dirty?
I have a lot of favorite memories with my husband. We did a lot of things together. We went ice skating in the winter, roller skating in the summer. Oh, and he planted a beautiful Japanese garden, which everybody used to come and look at. It was beautiful. And I just loved being with him. a pleasure when he came home from work.
Yeah.
I'd kiss him hello. And so once for fun he said, I'll kiss you goodbye, and he turned and walked down the stairs. But it was a joke, he came right back up.
Say we would be eating, maybe we would be eating a grapefruit at the table, and he would say, Sari, this grapefruit is so sweet. Like he just loved to announce to you how he felt about things.
Once when we were having lunch, it was on a Sunday, we were all around the table, Jerry, Susie, Daddy, and I shook I couldn't get the ketchup out, so I shook it, and the cover was off, and the ketchup went all over the walls and all over everybody's clothes and everything. It was like, oh, everybody was so mad at me.
When was that?
What?
When your kids were little? Or when was that?
Yeah, the kids were in their early teens.
Okay.
I'll never forget that. Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
I had just taken a shower and put on a clean house dress.
Yeah. What a mess.
The cover wasn't on tight enough, I guess, and it just flew off.
Oh my
And
God.
everybody had to take a shower. It was in the hair and everything.
Oh, those are things you don't forget. Did anybody laugh about it later, or were they? Did they laugh about it later, or were they still?
Yeah,
mad?
when they tell about it, they laugh, but when it happened, they didn't.
They didn't think it was so funny then. Oh. Let's see.
That was a scream. He
You
loved working in Grandpa loved working in the garden. Loved working in the garden. He loved planting and everything and all that.
What did he plant?
Loved planting bulbs, flowers.
Any food?
Yes. He loved it. We had lovely flowers. We had a couple of trees. We had a cherry tree and a peach tree. And it had a crab apple tree, only because of the beautiful flowers that it produced in the spring. But the crab apples really aren't for eating when they're sour. But my mother made a jam out of them with lots of sugar, so it was pretty good.
Goodwin?
Gracie Goodman.
Gracie Goodman. Do you have any favorite songs from the 30s to the 50s? Do you have any favorite songs from
Your childhood.
From your childhood or when you were a young woman?
There was a song that my husband and I used to say was our song.
I don't know
At this
that.
age, I don't remember it.
Oh darn! Because I don't remember hearing that.
I can't think of the name of that song right now.
What do you remember? How it
I'll
went?
remember you. Oh, no, that was a little before him.
We'll let you think about it. We'll come back to it. If you think of it, let me know. She also asked, what do you think has changed most in the world over time since you were a child? What has changed the most in the world?
Technology.
That's true.
Climate and technology.
Yeah.
And technology.
Yes. When you were a child, it would be shot. You wouldn't even believe what we have today, right?
Of course.
It
Some of the things that we have, I don't believe either.
I know, it's unthinkable.
The people have the mind to invent such things, like the iPad, like Joe Jobs invented.
Jobs.
I can't understand
Steve
it.
Jobs. Steve.
I can't understand it.
I don't understand it either. How it transmits wirelessly.
The first model was the airplane. Who could think such a heavy thing could stay up in the air?
Right. What year was that What year was that? With the Wright brothers and the airplane. That happened in your in your lifetime, right? Like the airplane.
Oh, we very rarely saw an airplane.
Yeah.
Very rarely saw an airplane. And they weren't for passengers.
No. No. Then they started taking
But then
passengers
later on, that developed.
in the 50s and 60s, maybe.
Oh no, the planes. We had planes then.
In the 40s, like people were.
We had planes in the
30s.
1920s, 30s. Don't forget, there was the war. And they had planes.
Right, but I mean, when passengers started to.
They didn't have much. And passengers started. I guess I don't know because I didn't go.
Right.
Mm.
When was the first time you remember flying?
The first time I was on the plane,
Yeah. Where were you going?
Florida, with Babe and Lenny and Lou.
Oh, to look at houses? Like,
We decided to take a vacation
okay.
in Florida and go by plane.
That was
Once we drove. Lenny drove, but then we went by plane. And going on a plane in those days was a big thing. Everybody got dressed up. Everybody got dressed up like they were going to church or the temple.
right. It was a very festive occasion.
Yes, no matter what, everybody got dressed up. Today you see them living on the plane with torn jeans and short jeans. You can see their behind.
Oh, the behinds. Oh
It's
my
true.
God. I know it's true. I saw a behind just today in the plane. It's true. But so you were a young adult. You were an adult by the time, you took a plane for the first time.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's another question by Max W.
Alex
Oh, Alex.
Wengard.
Alex W. What do you do throughout the day, and what is your favorite food? What do you do throughout the day? And what is your favorite food?
I have no favorite food, and I like everything.
You do eat a lot of different food. You don't like spicy food. We know that.
Yeah, I don't care for very spicy foods or very bitter foods, but I like most foods. I'm not a picky eater.
Right. That's good. That's probably kept you healthy, eating a variety of foods. So, now, what you do throughout the day now is different than what you used to do throughout the day.
Well,
You don't have
I'm 107 years old,
right.
so I can't do the things I did before. But I read. I read a lot. I am never without a book. And then I work my iPad. I do puzzles on them. I do Scrabble on them.
So you're always exercising your brain. Your brain is always that you're using your brain a lot
Yes.
throughout the day. So that's another
Yeah.
thing that's probably kept you so healthy. You know,
Yes.
doing puzzles.
I play games on the iPad, and I email my friends.
She emails all the time. We get emails from Grandma Sari
My
all the time.
family. That's a wonderful way to communicate. If people are far away, especially.
And you're on Facebook, right?
Occasionally.
Right. That's amazing.
Some time ago I went to Facebook, and I saw so much about you and everybody in the family.
Right. I know. It's really amazing. This is an interesting question from Miles.
You can hardly see it.
I know, but I can see it. What was it like to see your children raise their own family? What is it like to see your kids raise their own family?
How old are these kids?
They're in middle school. I know, it's like very sophisticated questions, Miles. It's impressive. They're only like what, 13?
These are bright kids.
These are very bright kids. It's a very profound question to think about when you're only 13.
Oh, it's wonderful being grandparents. And I enjoy them so much. That's what makes my life happy. But I don't see them enough because we live far apart. That's the bad part about it. I live in Florida. That's South United States.
Because the doctor told your husband that he had to move to Florida.
Right, because he said he needed the warm climate.
Because he was getting sick all the time. And
Correct.
and he felt like in order to live a good life, he needed to be in a warm climate.
That was nice to be out of the cold during the winter. So that's the good part.
Natalie DiFrancesco has a question. How was your life during COVID-19?
I wore a mask all the time. And everybody did. I wasn't the only one. And some people got very sick and it was just too bad. They passed away, but it was, when COVID first came, it was a stronger disease than it is now. You don't hear so many deaths or anything like that.
But I thought nobody
But
in
there's
this
not too many COVID cases.
But in this building, in your facility, I don't think anybody died from COVID-19, or did they?
Yes, they did.
They did. Oh,
That's when it first came out.
how many people?
I don't know. I didn't count them.
Okay. Well, but we're sure that's how they died, because I mean, you're living in a facility with a lot of old people that are older.
I mean, it was very
It was.
contagious.
It was. But so the dining room was closed down. Nobody could go to the dining room. Everybody had to stay in their apartment. Is that how the room?
I had COVID.
You had it at that time.
I had it. I was quarantined for 9 months.
9 months.
Oh, I'm sorry. 9 days. Quarantined for 9 days. 9
Okay.
months ago.
Okay,
9 days.
but
I couldn't leave my apartment.
other people were allowed to leave the apartment during COVID. Like
No, I wasn't allowed to leave
not
my apartment.
not just you, but I mean when people were not sick with COVID. Were they still allowed to go to the pool, or were people allowed to walk around, or you just had to have a mask on?
Well, people had to go out and go to work and shop, but they had to wear a mask.
Right. Julia M. wants to know, how scared were you during the world wars? And what was it like? I mean, you were in the United States, so you weren't in the middle of where the war
we
was.
were lucky.
Yeah.
We were lucky.
But you knew what was going on, and
We were in the war. The United States was safe. They once discovered German submarines off the coast of Florida, but they got rid of them. But other than that, all the war, all the fighting was in the European area and others. But the United States was safe.
she also wants to know, are you scared of death?
That's
Death. Dying. She wants to know if you're scared of dying or death.
of death,
Yes.
of dying.
Yeah.
Not at my age.
You're not scared.
I'm not scared.
Not at all. It doesn't.
I just hope I go to sleep and not wake up when the time comes.
I know that's I think the best way to go.
Right.
But it doesn't scare you. Now I guess
No,
at this point you're feeling what? How do you feel? You feel it just.
doesn't scare me.
You've seen so many people do it, and the,
Do you think that you're gonna meet Lou?
you think that, what do you believe will happen after you die? Like, do you believe in that you'll see people from your past, or what do you think?
I think you. I don't know how to explain it, but
Everybody has different, different religions have different ways of thinking, different beliefs. But do you feel like you're gonna see Lou again? Or not really? It's okay if you don't.
I think you just gotta sleep and don't wake up. That's all.
Okay.
That's how I like to think about it. Just sleep.
You're sleeping.
But actually, the reality is that you fall apart.
Okay. Well, and you already know where you're going to be when you die, right? You already bought a place where your body will be, right? You and Grandpa already, you know that you'll be.
Oh, well, yeah, I know where I'll be. Yes.
What is it called? It's not a.
It was a mistake.
Oh no.
Babe Money knew the people of the cemetery, so she wanted us to go there. But I didn't. It's too far away. She was afraid to be in the ground. We were in a crypt.
Mausoleum.
Like a mausoleum.
I
Yeah.
don't like it.
You don't like it?
No.
Well, are you allowed?
But they're up there already. Babe and Lanier are gone, and Grandpa's gone.
So now you feel like you have to do it. You have to follow through.
Yeah.
But you don't, right? It's like you could change your mind. What are they gonna do about it?
Hold on.
Like Stephen, like Uncle Steve, your son-in-law, was cremated.
I think he was cremated.
Yeah. Do you believe in that, or is this a little too deep to talk about?
Yeah, I think he was cremated.
Okay. Okay, one more. Oh, well, I mean,
Do you have a question, Lise?
I don't know if, I think we already answered that one. Well, this is pretty deep too. This is not leaving on a happy note, but let's see. Bentley or Beatley?
Bentley Yang.
Bentley Yang is asking a very profound question. What was the hardest moment in your life and why? The hardest moment in your life.
I can't answer that. The hardest moments of my life was when my parents died.
Yeah. Well, you were still young, and it was probably you became more used to that as your life went on. Those were the most important people to you at that, and you were a young woman when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
My father died when Jerry was a year old.
My father is Jerry.
And he was, and my father was at the house the night before. And when he just said, tell my mother, he said, I'm going to Sari's, I want to see Jerry. So my mother said, well, Jerry's sleeping. He says, but I get healthy when I look at him. He was crazy about him. And I don't know how he knew, but he always knew when my father came over when he was sleeping. My father didn't even say a word.
Maybe he had
And
a
he
scent.
knew. And he'd stand up in the crib and he'd say, Pa, 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 and I'd carry him, and my father would hide in a closet because I would want him to go to sleep.
Right.
He'd be asleep.
But he knew. He's like, I don't believe you. I know he's hiding somewhere. Oh.
Anyhow, I was going to say that the night before he died, he came over, and he and Jerry would go crawl around the crib, one of a chair like that, and Jerry would laugh when he saw his father, saw Grandpa. go in opposite directions.
And he would like play
And
hide
when he
and
saw my father, he would laugh, and he knew it was a game.
right, right. So cute.
That's the last time.
Well, that's a
And
real loss.
And the next day he had the massive heart attack.
Oh, but how nice! Thank God he came over that night, right?
Funny?
It's good that he came over that night and saw, and saw.
But Jerry doesn't remember.
I know that's a real loss. That would have been good for my dad to have that grandfather in his life, right? He sounded like such a wonderful man.
A mensch.
A mensch, which means a good person, a good heart, right?
He was a terrific fella. Wonderful. My father, when I came home from before I was married, I went to work. So after dinner, he'd say, go put lipstick on and we'll take a walk. He wouldn't walk with me unless I put lipstick on.
Your father wouldn't walk with
He
you?
was very modern, yes. I had to wear lipstick.
And where would you walk?
Another thing I remember, when my mother would be sewing on the sewing machine, she asked me to read her one of the books that I was reading. And I was reading, that time I was reading Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
And there's the part where Eve, one of the children, a white girl, is dying. And I start to cry. And my mother was saying, it's only a story, it's make believe. I said, but there were slaves. And so then my mother says, the Jews were slaves too.
Oh yeah.
Pretty bad. We were slaves in Egypt.
It's true.
But that was, I don't know if they still, that was compulsory reading. I don't know if they still read that in school.
Some.
Did they read that in your?
I honestly don't. Not in middle school. I don't know about high school.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
I don't know that I recall reading it. I think I did, but
Did I read Anne Frank?
They do read Anne Frank. Yep. We're going to her museum this year in Holland.
Okay. All right. We're gonna wrap it up. Now you know my wonderful grandma Sari Schulman, and you have a little sliver of an idea of how lucky I am to have had her in my life all these years.